Today, we are going to introduce a trade in advertising. Have you ever known of a trade of advertising? First, initial stage.
Far from 1450, the Asian advertising generation. Gutenberg had invented type printing advertising. In this generation, they only conducted advertising by hands. The amount of advertising is limited. In 1450 to 1850, paper advertising still not popular. Therefore, the range of advertising was limited. The first Western printed newspaper was published in Strasbourg, France, in 1609. In 1622, the first English newspaper was published in London. It's weekly news. In this year's newspaper, the first paper advertisement came out. In 1704, the first newspaper in the United States, the Boston News, was published, and an advertisement was published on it. This is the first newspaper advertisement in the United States. In 1706, the German Alois Heavyfield invented the lithographic printing, creating a history of printing colorful advertising.
Next, let's introduce middle stage.
In 1869, the first modern advertising company appeared in USA. They contacted the advertising agents in the newspapers, contracted consumers for newspapers, and received commissions from newspapers. This method was later extended to magazines. At the end of the 19th century, the emergence of some popular media publications also provided convenience for the development of advertising during this period. The Woman's Family magazine, which was founded in 1883, reached a circulation of 1 million copies in 1900, showing the speed of popular media. Except for television and broadcasting, there were not only magazines but also have other printed publications. Due to the advance of techniques, advertising can be spread out rapidly. As we can know, advertising become a main resources of newspapers and magazines. In addition, its exhibitions have become a way for conveying the information for the public. To talk about modern advertisement, there are three important stages. In modern, that is upgrade the level and standard of advertisement. The company of advertisement enhance their management and make progress of their professional. By the way, the governments have responsibility to take over or restrain the behavior of advertising company. Meanwhile, the government has established several regulations for managing the advertisement.
Next is modern world. According to the 1981 World Advertising Associations, global spending on advertising expense in 1980 was $111.4 billion, an increase of about double the $59.5 billion in 1976. According to the figures released by the organizations in 1988, the global advertising expense in 1986 was more than $180 billion. of advertising market. The strong growing moments of this kind of advertising turnover indicates that the actual development potentials of the advertising industry is very amazing. Especially television, printing poster, radio, movies, and the internet play or publish advertisements in exchange for funds of advertisers. Today, nearly 19% of the money spent by advertisers is spent on the media. In the past, the media accounted for 85% and the remaining 50% was paid to advertising agencies as a fixed commissions. Televisions, radios, movies, and posters cover almost all advertising. Print media and the internet have both ads and classified ads. Most media cannot survive without a lot of reverse of advertising. The only exceptions are public service media, such as the BBC, which are fully funded by government funds and are funded by the government in a variety of ways around the world. These media, supported by government funds, account for only a small percentage of the world's media. Early stage. First, before 1450 sign, word of mouth. Second, before 1450 handwriting advertisement. Middle stage. First, 19th centuries, a great deal of printing. Second, 1930, televisions become the main role. Modern stage. First, social networking, for example, Facebook, YouTube. Second, large billboards, hire celebrities and outlets. Let's compare early and nowadays.
In early stage, people can convey the information of products through newspaper or magazine. There are several disadvantages. Its inefficiency and cannot leave an impressive on consumer of your products. And if you want to update the advertising of your product, it might spend you several days. Nowadays, each advertising company can sell their products in many ways. For example, some famous social networking, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Line. When you use your laptop, one advertisement will show up and want to get your attention or click it. What's more, if the advertising company spends lots of money, they can sell their own products through the big screen on the streets or on the buildings. There are lots of people would pass through the road in one day. Advertising companies spend lots of money to that superstar or athlete introduce their products and say some good words in a short video in order to stimulate consumption. The advertising in modern advertisements are spreading out the information quickly and efficiently. Although it would cost business lots of money, but it's worth it.
In the early days, the most important media in the global advertising market were print publications, television, and radio. However, due to the cultural background and educational level, the proportion of advertising expenses in different regions is different in each medium. For example, in Western Europe, the level of education is higher, and more than half of the advertising costs are spent on printed publications. In Latin America, the level of education is low, and only 27% is paid for print media. According to statistics, in 1976, the global advertising expenditure were $59.5 billion, but in 1980, it increased to $111.4 billion, which is twice as much. The increase in advertising revenue can be seen in the advertising industry. The development potential is very amazing.